The dummy on trial. Jerry versus Willie. Jerry Etherson stands before us. His very name testifies against him. Ether is anesthesia, a numbing vapor that dulls awareness. Ether is also the invisible sky, the thin air where signals travel. Etherson is the son of projection, a man who survives by throwing his voice into the ether so it seems to come from elsewhere. He hasn't just thrown his voice. He has thrown his identity. He has projected his sense of self into a block of wood and bowed down to it. That is the authority problem in costume. The ventriloquist becomes the ventriloquized. The dreamer becomes the dummy. Hide the source. Project the effect. Swear it has autonomy. Exhibit A, the bite. Jerry insists Willie bit his finger. He holds up teeth marks like evidence in court. But Willie is wood. Wood does not bite. The marks are belief leaving its impression on flesh. That is how projection operates. Pain looks external but comes from within. Jerry is certain the harm came from outside. That is the first lie of the ego. Accuse the block of wood. Accuse the body. Accuse the world. Exhibit B, the bottle. Frank, his agent, confronts Jerry's drinking. Jerry says the nightmares force him to drink. Frank counters that the bottle creates the nightmares. Both miss the point. The mind chooses the ego, and the ego produces both bottle and nightmare. Cause and effect are reversed. Projection precedes perception, but Jerry insists the order is the opposite. This is the ego's favorite mistrial. Exhibit C, goofy goggles. Jerry thinks he can escape by switching dummies. He invents goofy goggles and locks Willie in a trunk. Later, in desperation, he smashes the new dummy to pieces, sure he has killed the problem. But you can't kill what was never alive. This is the gag the ego runs forever. Make the unreal real, then fight it, then despair when it won't die. Suicide, murder, self-attack, different costumes, same illusion. Concepts do not die, they dissolve only when belief is withdrawn. Jerry's hammer never touches the source. That is why Willie laughs. Exhibit D, the confession. Willie spells out the entire setup. You made me. You poured words into my head. You moved my mouth, you made me real. That is the ego's sworn testimony. It has no life of its own. It borrows breath from belief. Jerry refuses responsibility. He insists, not me, Willie. You did this. Denial of authorship is his only defense. But Willie's laughter exposes the absurdity. Even the dummy knows that ideas do not leave their source. Exhibit E, the old switcheroo. The sentence is carried out. Jerry becomes the dummy. Willie becomes the master. From boss to blockhead in a few uneasy lessons. This is the ego's endgame. Get the projector to identify with the projection. Get the ventriloquist to identify with the puppet. Once you forget you are the source, you condemn yourself to wood. Lifeless, hollow, dependent. Exhibit F, the mind, not the world. Jerry thinks the problem lives in trunks and theaters. So he swings the hammer at goofy goggles. But the problem is a concept living on borrowed belief. You cannot bludgeon a belief. You cannot smash an idea into silence. You look at it with new eyes until it dissolves. That is forgiveness, the recognition that what seemed to happen never did. Jerry had the mercy of hearing the truth from his own puppet. But he chose denial over release. That is how projection becomes possession. Closing argument. The Twilight Zone is not about a killer doll. It is about the mind on trial. Jerry climbed into the witness box and swore the world was guilty of harming him. The jury of his own thoughts delivered a guilty verdict, but the defendant never had life. Willie was wood. The grievance was dust. The whole case was theatre. Withdraw belief and the court dissolves. You cannot kill a dummy. You can only stop treating it as real. verdict and remedy. Accept authorship and the ventriloquist returns to the mic. Cause and effect are restored. Nightmares fall silent when the bottle of ego is set down. Projection ends when responsibility is welcomed. Not by force, by recognition, by laughing with the Holy Spirit at the tiny mad idea that wood could move a mind. Submitted for your approval. 1 Jerry Etherson, ventriloquist by trade, projectionist by compulsion. He gave his voice to wood, then begged the wood to give it back. In that small, dark courtroom known as the Twilight Zone, he stood accused of crimes against himself. The sentence was simple: life on the lap of his own invention until he remembers who made whom. Case dismissed the moment the mind withdraws belief and the dummy returns to dust.